Hello guys. So today's Monday. We're leaving to Disneyland tomorrow. I've been wanting to film this video. I filmed it once already, but it was so I'm basically going to be recapping this year. Not only recapping this year, but recapping it in how this year affected me personally, mentally, physically, and what I'm doing now to, help myself. So if you guys are new to my channel, if you guys have never been to my channel before, and this is your first video that you are watching of mine, I would highly suggest at least watching my surgery, because I'm going to be talking about from when I had my surgery in January, which that's why I say it's like a recap of this year, because I had my surgery in January, so it just, everything happened this year. So we are in November, so I'm coming up on my year. And like I said, if this is your first video, I would suggest you going and watching the other ones so you kind of know what I'm talking about, because I'm not going to go into super detail about a lot of stuff. Okay, so back in January 18th, I had my surgery. And, typically when you have these surgeries, you get told, a 6-week, window of time to recover before you work out, right? Crazy. My 6 weeks came and went because I had a spot on my tummy tuck incision that wasn't healing. I would say it took an extra like 4 weeks. I did try to run, but my boobs were still super sensitive that it hurt. They hurt, that they would hurt. So I was not doing much cardio, and I was just lifting, doing upper body, just basic stuff. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I would say I started actually feeling back to normal to work out at about 10 weeks or so. That would be like literally that would literally put us in April, where I would be about 10 weeks. So also around that time in April, we decided to sell our house that we've been living in for 4 years, and we were going to move in with my mother-in-law. He was going to start a job near like 5 minutes away from where my mother-in-law lives, right? So we started selling things at the house. We started emptying rooms, decluttering. If you guys watch my Instagram, you guys know that I'm always getting rid of stuff, always cleaning things out. At the same time that I'm almost done healing, and I start exercising, I have, I'm able to exercise more. We start the process of selling our house. So, that takes up a lot of our time. April, and then in May, we actually started moving out the beginning of May. It was like the first or second week of May. We started moving out. So once Ramses was working there, for about a week. We had been at my mother-in-law's for like 2 weeks at that point, and we just realized that this was not gonna be a good fit for our family as far as this time constraint that we had with his commute, him having to leave so early, and that affected me being able to work out, moving out. And so we didn't have a gym membership. We didn't have anything because we were used to working out at our house. So once we had a good routine down and we were like ready to start working out, then, I would work out before Ramses would go to work or something, and then blah, blah, blah. But since his commute got extended from 5 minutes to like an hour and a half almost, he had to leave earlier, and it didn't leave much time for me to work out. So, like I said, we were there for about 2 weeks when Rams and I just started talking. After this conversation, I'm like, look, why don't we move? Why don't we move? So we ended up doing. We ended up moving to where we were about 15 minutes away from his job, and we were about 30 minutes away from our families. Everything seemed to work out really quickly, really fast. We found an apartment within a couple of days, moved in over the weekend, and we were good to go. So that happened the last weekend of May that we ended up moving into this apartment, right? So a lot has happened, right, in like 5 months. So we lived in the apartment June, July, August. And to make a long story short, at first, we were trying to stay positive. We were eating out a lot. We were finding like new spots that we've never eaten before. And we were just, I tell Rams, I feel like we were just like on vacation, you know? We're staying like at an Airbnb or something. Because that's how we were kind of living. We were kind of like just chilling. We weren't on any sort of like meal prepping, exercising, like, you know, routine. I would work out, I would, but I wasn't really like seeing any progress. I was going like a week, 2 weeks sometimes, like without working out, and I started to gain weight. Okay, so I had lost 7 pounds before I started exercising. So I lost 7 pounds from what I originally weighed before. So that put me at about 150. And when we were living in the apartment, I was working out, but very inconsistently. I started weighing myself again, and I weighed myself again at that point, like in like June. So like from April to like June, July, in those few months, I had not only gained back the 7 pounds that I had lost after my surgery, but I had gained another 7 pounds on top of that. I had officially like gained like 14 pounds, like the 7 that I had lost right after my surgery, and then I had gained another 7. We moved out of the apartment and to like our hometown, and we are renting a house here, and we are honestly so fucking happy. Like, I can't even describe it. So anyways, that's that. We're back in our hometown, and we're not in the apartment anymore. So we ended up putting in 60-day notice. We moved out, we came back here, whatever. So now we have all our equipment back. We set up our garage. We've been working out all this stuff, right? So moved back, but when this first started was in September, and it was also the month of Sissy's birthday. So we came down, went to my mom's, and we spent it at my mom's. And while we were there, my mom has a blood pressure machine. And I don't remember why she had it out, but she did, and everyone was just checking their blood pressure, right? So mine came out extremely high. And I've had 3 kids, and I've never had preeclampsia or any high blood pressure issues until I had a Mavis, and I went to the hospital because I was, you know, I was going into labor, and I wasn't even, they would have sent me home, but my blood pressure was high. They said it was a little high. It was high, and if I felt okay. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, you know. And they were all very confused, like, your blood pressure is elevated, and, you know, it's dangerous for you to go home, even though you're not dilated that much. So they ended up inducing me. For the first time, I had never been induced before, and it was my 3rd baby. So very, very different, very new experience for me as far as childbirth goes. So that was the only time that my blood pressure was ever brought up to me as a concern, was that day. And then after that, like, I never like went back to the doctor or anything, just for the baby. And yeah, that was it. So when we were at my mom's and everybody was taking their blood pressure, and mine was like extremely high, you know, and I felt fine, you know. I didn't feel lightheaded, or I didn't have a headache or like anything like that. After that point, my mom, you know, as moms do, was concerned, and she was like, Lil, you need to go to the doctor, you need to get your blood pressure checked, you need to go to the doctor. So Ramses, you know, I feel like anyone is kind of like in denial when maybe there's could be possibly something wrong. You want to be optimistic. And also, he's a nurse, so he was just kind of like, I don't know, I don't like those blood pressure machines. Like, I feel like they're, you know, a little biased, or like, oh, and I was like, well, everybody else's blood pressure came out normal except for mine. Like, mine was the only one that came out like that. Nobody else's were like weird or anything. So Ramses started taking my blood pressure randomly in the morning, like in the afternoons. Like, you know, they say it's better in the mornings, but like, you know, he just wanted to kind of see what was going on. And every time, just to give you an idea, every time the second number was always over 100. Every time. So if you're a medical professional and you know what that means, or if you're not and you know what that means, I mean, good for you. I didn't really know till after this happened to me. So that was in September. And then we moved here probably like the first week of October. And then the week after that, I went to the doctor. So now we are in November, mid-November. It's been about 4 or 5 weeks now since I've been to the doctor. I went, it was very high, my blood pressure. She, you know, brought it up. She was like, hey, like, you know, it's very high. We're going to take it one more time. And, you know, if it's still high, we're going to have to put you on some medication. So they did. And I took it for 2 weeks. She asked me to do a follow-up to go back in. My second number was still a little high after the 2 weeks of me taking the medication. But she said to keep taking it for another month, because obviously it's like a new medication, you want to get used to it and all that. So she said take it for another month, and then for me to come and do a follow-up for that. Yeah, so I'm on high blood pressure medication. I am 30 years old. I have no other health issues. But my doctor was just saying, you know, it's genetic. Sometimes you can't eat away, run away genetics, you know, all that stuff. So, and let me just say that I've felt no different. Like before the medicine, after the medicine, like I feel normal. So, you know, and that's what they say that is dangerous about blood pressure. High blood pressure is that it's, you know, it's the silent killer, and you know, you need to be careful with this. So yeah, so that's kind of my spiel for that. So once I just got confirmation that I was going to start taking medication and all that, we were, you know, we were still unpacking. I just had like, you know, a serious kind of heart to heart with Ramses, and I told him, like, you know, I really need your support. I really need to do better for myself, at least for a significant amount of time. You know, like, I feel like I don't want to eat out. I don't want to like have any, you know, cheat meals or whatever until, you know, I see some significant like weight loss. Like I've gained 14 pounds, and I've never like gained weight like that before. Like I've always been stuck at the same weight, or I know how to maintain my weight, but I don't know essentially how to lose weight. I've never been actively, like, as far as my nutrition goes, I never wanted to develop any sort of unhealthy relationship with food, you know? And I feel like I did for a little bit. I would say I was fasting, but honestly was just like not eating sometimes. And it wasn't like on days on end, it would just be like that day. Like I would eat so bad the day before, and then like I would feel guilty, and then I would like, oh, I'm not hungry, like for the rest of the day the next day. But then it catches up to you, you know, because then your body does need fuel. But the thing is, we need to fuel it with the right foods, you know, and that's the thing, is like, we know what to do. We do. It's just way too convenient to go buy food, and especially when you have kids and you have busy lives, and you know, it gets old, you know, making the same things at home all the time. You just want to be able to like pick food up and just sit at home and relax and not have to clean the kitchen after, and you can just throw everything away and it's great. Like, come on, like, who does not enjoy doing that? Like, but obviously that contributes to, you know, and again, this isn't like about the weight, but I mean, weight is a good indicator of what's going on sometimes, you know. So the fact that my blood pressure is very high, we've had so many changes throughout this year. We, you know, moved 3 times essentially. Like, we moved from the 2-story to my mother-in-law's, from my mother-in-law's to the apartment, from the apartment to here. We've moved 4 times this year. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer, like, duh, like, I have not been able to get on any, like, stay on any sort of consistent, you know, meal prepping and being, you know, intentional with what I'm eating and not just fucking stuffing my face, you know, like how we all do, like, oh, we're busy and like we're hungry and you just pick this up or get this, or like, my problem is snacking. I think that's where my issue is. And then, like, you know, cravings, like, oh, I'm craving this or I'm craving that or whatever. And then, like, Ramses just freaking goes and gets for me. And I told him, I'm like, listen, you need to stop enabling me. But it's him too, you know, like, but we're different, you know, where he can go run a mile every day for a week and he like loses all his body fat, you know, but that's not, you know, that doesn't happen for me. So for him, he's not as motivated to stay on any sort of diet or anything. So I told him, like, I don't want to pressure you into doing anything with me, but this is what I'm going to do. I need you to prioritize helping me meal prepping things, maybe making juices, maybe helping me with my vitamins, you know, so I take them and stuff, filling my water. So I wrote everything down. I wrote down meals that we usually eat. I calculated the calories. I figured out how much I should be eating, and I'm going to be drinking my green juices. I'm going to be taking my protein shakes. I mean, I've been doing that. Just that this weekend we did eat out. I'm going to be vlogging maybe once I figure out my routine for how I'm going to be doing my meals and what I'm going to be sticking to as far as workouts go. But tomorrow we leave to Disneyland, so I'm not going to be really doing any clean eating. So we're going to be traveling tomorrow. We're going to be actually going to Disneyland Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we're going to be coming home on Saturday. So obviously we're going to do our best, but I mean, we're going to have a good time. So yeah, as soon as we get back, I'm jumping right back on my routine. Even today, like, my sister's like, hey, I'm going to get Chick-fil-A. Do you want anything? I'm like, no, I'm good. I ate half a bagel this morning with my juice. I took my medicine. I didn't work out today because Ramses worked, but I did want to film this video because when I get back, I probably will put up the vlog or vlogs of Disney, but then I'm going to definitely be vlogging more day-to-day stuff, which you'll see, you know, my new like routine and stuff. So if you guys want anything like specific, let me know, but I'm sure once I like just start vlogging, the natural like questions will start coming in, so whether it's meals or actually workouts or planning, how I'm doing all this. I am going to do a video on that, just how I'm getting started to begin with, because it is hard. Like, it is hard. And I think obviously me getting on medication, it really influenced my brain to be like, okay, it's enough. You're settled. You don't have any more excuses, you know, because we always have excuses. Like, I'm busy, I'm a mom, I need to do this, I need to do that, I've been doing this. Like, especially when you're already like, you're working or you're productive in a different sense, I feel like we tend to cut ourselves too much slack I feel like we tend to enable ourselves a little bit, like, oh, well, it's okay because this or because that or because this is going on or that's going on, or because I did so good, you know, that one time, like, oh, but it was so hard. You know, it's like, but you don't have to do it the same way you've done it before. You know, you can modify it. You know, there's a fine line between enabling ourselves and holding ourselves accountable, you know? So I'm at that point for sure that I'm going to start holding myself accountable. Yeah, right now, this morning, I weighed myself and I weigh 164. So let's remember I said I had post-op, I was at 150. So I've literally gained like 14 pounds after my surgery. Yeah, so it just kind of goes to show how these kinds of surgeries are not just like one and done. Like, yes, I was exercising, you know, 2 to 3 times a week with some week breaks in there, but this kind of surgery is not like a one and done and like, you know, you never have to work out or whatever, because yeah, you can fix the way that you look, but like internally we still have to take care of ourselves, you know, as far as our health goes. So regardless of how you look, how you eat is going to influence the diseases and the problems, the physical problems you have coming from within, you know? That goes in both senses, right? Like eating too much and eating a lot of processed foods to not eating enough, and our body constantly being in that state of starvation to where it holds on to the weight that you're in trying to lose, you know? So there's so many factors, but just being aware of what you're doing, being honest with yourself, and, you know, being like, okay, yeah, I'm busy, and yeah, I have a lot on my plate, but in return, what am I doing to myself that's negatively impacting me in the future? You know, like your future self will thank you for the decisions you're making now, you know? Yeah, I think that's all I have for this video. I will be doing a dedicated video for my surgery update because I don't think I've done one since I was like 4 months post-op, I think. And I'm like about to be 10 months post-op, so it's been a while. Yeah, so stay tuned for any vlogs, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!